Happy Earth Day. I wanted to record this video about composting for you all. I'm sure plenty of you out there do compost, but maybe a lot of you don't. So I want to do a little intro video. So this is our compost pile here. We created this bin a couple years ago, just out of plywood here. This one's a little unique. We got stick piles over here, yard waste type stuff. We're not expert composters for sure. This is a little rough, but it's definitely been effective for us. So compost is like energized soil that you can use in your garden or your other plants, and it helps provide a lot of nutrients, kind of like what manure or fertilizer would. So compost is made up of like half dirt and half nutrients type things that can energize the soil. So those nutrients type things would be mostly like food scraps, but also a lot of like grass clippings or leaves, or even paper or newspaper or cardboard, anything that is gonna decompose over time, and that's what the soil gets the energy from. So, so we put our food scraps when we are inside into a bucket that we keep in our freezer. The main thing that people don't like about composting is that it potentially like smells and it looks gross, stuff like that. So we keep our bucket in the freezer, and then it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and when it's frozen, then it doesn't smell at all. So when the bucket gets full, we dump it, bring it out here, and dump it into our bin. As you can see here, we got some coffee grounds. Coffee grounds are awesome for compost piles. Worms especially really like them, and worms are good for your compost because they help get the soil going. They make decomposing faster. So put this in. We got some corn here, corn husks. We put a lot of eggshells in there. Eggshells are really nutrients filled. And yeah, so dump all this in here. Things you don't want to put in your compost are meat or fats or dairy products, or anything that's not going to decompose. But yeah, meat and dairy are big ones that you want to try to avoid because they're going to attract too many critters or other unwanted guests to your compost. So there's other bucket styles for in your home to put your compost into. Little trash bins like this are fairly common, especially if it has a lid. Little metal buckets, I've seen other people use those. Make sure it has a lid, but you want it to be at least a little breathable. Or sometimes even people just use a little like trash bag that they'll put their food scraps into and bring it out to their pile at the end of the day. And that way it wouldn't be sitting around too long. Other things that people make these bins out of, wooden pallets is really popular. You put one pallet down on the bottom and build sides for it, or chicken wire works really good. Make a little square area with chicken wire. Our bin probably isn't quite breathable enough, but I drilled holes into the side to allow some airflow in there, where like a pallet or chicken wire would be even more breathable. Another key part of composting is stirring it up. So we have a pitchfork here, and you want to stir up your compost to get the food scraps and other stuff you put on there mixed in with the rest of it. You can see how it's getting a lot darker now because a lot of our stuff that has decomposed and turned more into dirt looking is down at the bottom. We want to try to get some of that to come up on top of the food scraps that we just added in there. If you're really fancy, they make compost bins that actually like tumble, and it's kind of like a big metal barrel that you can open the lid up, put your stuff in, and you can tumble it. And those ones, your compost will decompose and be usable a lot quicker. So we've had this compost pile, like I said, for about 2 years, and we've been able to use the compost from it in our garden over here. We have 3 average sized garden beds over there, and we filled it up. Actually, we used mostly compost, so you can see that's quite a bit of compost that we were able to make. It's recommended to use about 50-50 dirt to compost, or even like 25 compost to dirt. So you want to make sure that you have a good balance of stuff that goes into your compost, like sticks, grass clippings, food scraps, and existing dirt. You don't want to have too much or too little of anything, otherwise it just won't quite work out or be as nutrients filled. Anyways, happy Earth Day, and I hope you all have a good week. Thanks. Bye.